Hello and welcome to this episode of the Print on Demand Playbook podcast. I'm your host Adrian, here with my co-host Carrie, and in today's episode, we are going to be discussing 5 ways to improve your print on demand sales. These are probably the 5 areas that we get asked about the most. So we have decided to take a deep dive on each of these areas. And I think you're going to be very surprised by the one area that we actually both think is the most important and most overlooked. So we're going to jump in. It's going to be a lot of fun. But real quick, before we begin, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast. It helps us reach new listeners and it helps you never miss an episode. So thank you so much. We are so glad you're here. And just before we hop in, here's a quick word from this episode's sponsor.
This podcast is brought to you by Gelato, the world's largest print-on-demand network. Gelato enables individuals ranging from e-commerce entrepreneurs to artists and creatives to establish their own global business. The magic of Gelato is that they focus on local production. The item being delivered is produced in the country that the order is placed almost 90% of the time, leading to many benefits such as lower costs, faster delivery times, and most importantly, reducing carbon emissions. The focus on tech to knit together over 130 production facilities across 32 countries is truly unique. Thanks to this, they currently have the highest customer satisfaction score in the print-on-demand industry on Trustpilot. To check them out for yourself, go to sixfigurefounder.com/gelato and use the discount code PODPlaybook, all capital letters, to get 60% off your first order when placed within 72 hours. That's the number 6figurefounder.com/GELATO. You can also find the link and discount code in the podcast show notes or in the video description on YouTube.
Hello, and welcome to this episode. Carrie, my man, what is going on today?
What's up, dude? How are you, man?
I'm doing really well. As you know, of course, I led a really fun Instagram growth strategies masterclass yesterday for our 6-figure founder group. And it was so much fun. We got a lot of positive feedback. And I've literally already seen people in our community starting to apply these strategies, which is super exciting. We had one dude today that he was starting to go viral on Instagram, and he was using this strategy. I can tell that you have something to say, so go ahead, take it away.
No, sorry to butt in. The class was absolute fire, flames. If you guys don't know, if you're listening to this podcast, you know the kind of energy that Adrian brings. I just wanted to tell you guys out there, Adrian brings that energy to pretty much everything he does. Every time he fires up a class, every time he speaks, he's always bringing like huge energy. I even remember a couple months ago when we went to dinner. It's just like, it doesn't matter what time of day it is, how you're feeling, Adrian brings the energy. So the class yesterday was just flames, absolute fire. And yeah, like you said, we have a student named Seth who posted a reel like yesterday, today or something, and it's like hitting 10,000 views already, which is kind of going mini viral, which is really cool.
Probably higher now. That was this morning.
Yeah, it could go crazy in a matter of minutes. So it's wild.
Yeah, it was really exciting to see. I just love how this group, man, they take action. They are like quick, really rapid action takers. And those are, to be honest, the most coachable students.
Absolutely.
But like, to be fair to them, they're going to have the highest chance of success because they're the ones that are putting in the work. And it's just so exciting to see that these people they're the real deal. And it's just exciting to see people make more sales and hearing about results. We've got a quick wins section in our community where people are sharing their quick wins and kind of sharing strategies with everyone. It's just like awesome. I cannot say enough good things about it. But speaking of kind of feedback and communities, I need to shout out because we just love getting testimonials from our listeners. And we want to recognize you guys. We want to acknowledge you guys. Every single week, we want to shout someone out. So this testimonial, this review is from Valwini. Valwini, love the name. And she says, or maybe he, I'm actually not too sure if it's she or he, they say, love the podcast. I was so excited to see that the episode was available so early in the morning. I'm on the East Coast, so being able to hear it on my way to work was a highlight of my day. I look forward to future episodes. Valwini, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you. We really appreciate you taking the time to write that review. And we're going to keep bringing it. We know that a lot of people like to listen to our podcast on their way to work or on their way back from work. That we've heard that from multiple people. So we do try to intentionally get them out early on Friday mornings so that you guys can listen to them on work.
Can I tell you something crazy? Can I tell you something crazy, Adrian? Yeah. And I'm going to share this with you, everybody who's listening. We have had prepare your mind. We have had over 35,000 streams on this podcast since we started. Is that insane?
That is
35,000.
Insane.
I think it's actually more than that, but like from my calculations, like
you need like one of those buzzer like.
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you.
Sound effects buzzers. Like,
I have it. It's just not hooked up on my little buttons. But we just want to say a huge thank you. We just appreciate you. It's absolutely wild. We're blown away. It's only been a few months and over 35,000 streams, which is crazy. So that's pretty insane. Yeah. You ready to dive in, my man?
You guys are awesome. Yeah, let's just jump right in. So today's episode is 5 ways to improve your print on demand sales. So Carrie, why don't you take it away with number 1?
All right. Number 1 today. So 5 ways to improve your print on demand sales. This is going to be really, really good stuff. So definitely buckle in, lock in. I think we've got 5 categories here, 5 big areas we want to help you with today. So the first way to improve your print on demand sales is niching down. So one of the most common mistakes that we see, I don't want to call it a mistake, but one of the most common things that we see when just looking at all of these print on demand stores is a lot of people either don't have a niche or their niche is really hard to understand, or whatever the case may be. Like that's kind of what I typically see is they try to go too broad, too general, or it's just not clear. And I always think that, if you have to explain your niche, especially to your ideal audience, if like there has to be an explanation in your marketing and people don't know what it is right away, that's a red flag that, maybe your niche isn't clear enough or maybe you're not niched down enough. I'm a big believer in, really niching down far and trying to differentiate yourself that way. Not just, being broad, like just dogs or just, whatever, a sport or something like that, but trying to go a little bit deeper. And so I think we just see a lot of stores that are too broad, and it's really hard to sell when you're trying to be everything to everyone, right? Like if you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to no one. That's kind of the quote about it. So this is a huge mistake. It's one of the most common things we see. And to be honest, it's really hard when you get in further into your business journey. It's hard to go back and like redo everything. So it's always one of those things where I'm like, if you can niche down at the beginning, get that foundation at the beginning, get the right niche, be niched down, at the beginning, it'll make things a lot easier. And as you go, and especially as you're doing your marketing, it makes it so much easier when your niche is super clear, super easy to understand. It just makes it easy to market. And when it's not, it's really hard to market. You're trying to figure out who's my customer, what are they interested in, and how do I market it? But it makes everything really simple when it comes to marketing when you have a clear and easy to understand niche.
Yeah, 100%. Like your goal should be to plant your flag in the sand and try to become the king or queen of the niche, whatever. So what you want to do is what I recommend generally is start by niching down. You can go kind of more broad as you grow, but be known for something first. You need to identify who your ideal target audience. If you don't know who your niche is, if it's unclear or if it's everyone, it's going to be very hard to create a really dialed in community that is passionate enough to buy what you're selling. So, we talk so much about creating designs that evoke emotion and relatability. If it relates to everyone, it's probably not going to evoke that much emotion. So this is something that we talk about. We have a whole episode dedicated to this topic, but we just wanted to mention this because this is so I think it's very overlooked, but it is so foundational. This should be the first thing you do. If I were to coach someone today that said, I'm interested in starting a t-shirt or apparel brand today, I'd be like, okay, first things first, determine who your niche is, who do you want to serve, and then we can start creating products for that ideal target audience.
It's the first thing we look at. I mean, we've been reviewing a lot of stores lately in our six-figure founder program. We've been doing we do unlimited store reviews, so you can get your store reviewed as many times as you want, like all the time. But it's one thing. It's the first thing we look at, right? Like we pull up a store, and it's the first thing we do is go, all right, what's the niche? And we want it to be super clear, easy to understand, and and I think it shows in the results. To kind of just to wrap up this point, but we see the stores that we see that have better results. They have like clear as day niche. It's just like this is what it is. You know, there's no like, well, I'm kind of thinking about this, and it's kind of hard to understand, or it's not super clear. It's kind of or it's like, well, I just this is one. I don't want to offend anybody, but I just want to like inspirational t-shirts. It's like, it's so hard. It's so hard to do that. Broad. It's so broad, right? Like that could mean so many things, but I feel like that's a thing people go to maybe when they don't have a clear niche that they're passionate about. They're like, well, just want to inspire people. I'm just going to do like inspiration or like good vibes, those kind of things. Right. And it's just like, man, it's gotta be more specific, because it's just hard in the beginning when you go into this massive niche. It's the whole red ocean, blue ocean thing. You go into this huge niche. It's like, how are you going to fit into that? There's big sharks in this huge niche. You know what I mean? But niching down and serving a smaller group of people in the beginning, you can start to get momentum and traction and sales a lot quicker, because you're not as small, right? In a smaller niche.
Exactly. No, I totally agree. And it's not saying don't do inspiring shirts. It's just saying do inspiring shirts for a very specific audience. Yeah. You know what I mean? Get more specific, dial down a couple layers. Maybe it's inspiring shirts for moms who love to, I don't know, run or something. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm just thinking on the spot here, but like add a couple layers to that, because it's just, inspiring shirts are everywhere. I walk into Target and I see inspiring shirts. You walk into Walmart, you see inspiring shirts. It is so hard to create a very strong, emotion-evoking, inspiring shirt that isn't everywhere, kind of, So that is probably one of the ones I see the most commonly, where it's like, it's tough. You're fighting an uphill battle because you just have such a massive amount of competition out there. Everybody under the sun is selling inspirational shirts. But if you can differentiate and sell them for a very specific audience, then all of a sudden it's a totally different game. So, all right, let's jump on to number 2. And this is probably the number one area that I see people struggling with, contrary to popular belief, and maybe some people disagree with me, but
I totally agree.
With most of the students that I have coached, this is the number one area. It is their t-shirt designs do not evoke emotion and relatability. So the kind of tip here is improve your t-shirt designs. Simply put, if you're struggling to make sales, it's probably because your current t-shirt designs aren't compelling enough for people to buy. And you shouldn't take that personally. That's totally fine. Neither were mine when I started. Carrie, when I started my first t-shirt business, I dropped 50 designs and they were all flops, not a single winner. And you can't take it personally. Just what you need to do is instead take that energy, that kind of heartbreak energy, and harness that into releasing more designs. And eventually you'll start learning what your ideal target audience likes and wants. Too often, I see people blame factors like Facebook ads or some kind of social media advertising is a reason that they're not making sales. They're like, oh, I spent all this money on Facebook ads, I'm not making any sales. The truth is, many times people just don't want what you're advertising. These are humans on the other side. Like,
it's not just an algorithm.
It's an algorithm.
It's not just an algorithm. Like, it's real people.
Exactly. It's not like there's robots that are like, oh, if you spend enough money, you're going to make sales. That's not how it works. Like, you actually have to have a product that people want to buy. So if you don't have a winning design, I recommend that you just stop spending your hard-earned money on poor performing ads and focus instead your efforts on creating and testing new designs. One winning design is all you need to take your business to the next level. But without a winning design, you're going to continue to struggle. I say it all the time. You're always just one design away. Like, your next design could be a six-figure design, but maybe it won't, and that's okay. It just means back to the drawing board. And the more designs that you drop, the quicker you're going to understand what your audience wants, and then you can optimize on that. So if you create one that you see is performing better than the others, you can take some tips from that, deconstruct it, reverse engineer that design, and be like, okay, what was it about this design that got more engagement, maybe on social media or my email, than the other ones? Did it evoke emotion and relatability? Was it funny? Was it, did it pull on your heartstrings? What was it about this design? There's something there. And what you can do is you can just keep tweaking until you find what works. And then when you do find what works, you can literally just double down and ride that for so long. There's so many things you can do. You can remix it. You can repurpose it. There's so many things that you can do with the design. You can come out with trending colors. You can put it on different products, but you have to get there first. And that's why I'm very passionate about this point. Improve your t-shirt designs. And the solution here is just keep dropping designs until you find what works. Eventually you're gonna find what works. If you have a niche specific design and there's a community for that product, then eventually you're gonna find what works, but it can take time. So you just need to be patient. Don't take it personally and just keep learning as you go.
Yes. So good, dude. First thing I would say, just a quick tweak. We're talking about print on demand sales. So this applies to like not just t-shirts, any
Right.
print on demand products you're selling. Your design is really is the biggest part of it. What I would say is, and I'm sorry, I'm about to just poo-poo on the rest of our points here, but this is the most important point. I have seen some really, really bad websites that are making crazy sales. And the simple reason for that is just a really good design, a really engaging design. And I'm telling you, as important as things like reviews and things like a niche and all those are so important, right? And they can make incremental improvements in your sales. As important as those things are, if you have a winning design that really grips people, that people cannot say no to. I mean, think about that. If you can create designs that make people say, I have to have that, they will look past all the other things to get that design, to get that product or t-shirt or whatever the case may be, right? If it resonates with them on that level. So what we should be focusing on outside of, regardless of everything else, you might be a horrible web designer and that's okay. Focus on your designs, the best designs that you can possibly get, doing the market research, testing enough designs so that you can find what works. And that's going to lead you down the path of like looking at the data, seeing what works, making better designs, looking at the data, seeing what works, making better designs. And that's how we get better. That's how we make more money. And so this is the most important thing, is improving your t-shirt designs to increase sales. That's above everything else.
100%. And just going on that point that you said about, you could have a terrible website and still have a lot of success with if you have a winning design. The same goes for ads. I have seen some atrocious, cringeworthy ads that are killing it.
It's like the product is so good.
Exactly. People will overlook things if it's something they want and need. I've seen some sketchy ads and they're just really bad. In so many ways, but if they're selling something that people want, they will make sales. So that is one of many reasons why this is so important. You need a product that people actually want to buy before everything else will work, like your website and your design and your niche and whatnot. So
Yep.
all right, let's jump into number 3 of 5 ways to improve your print on demand sales, and that is improve your creatives. And by creatives, I am referring to the imagery that you use for your products and your ads, as well as the ad copy and call to action that you use in your ads. So personally, I've always found that imagery, and I think Carrie, you'll agree with this, imagery is so much more important than the ad copy itself. I mean, people can argue this if they want, but honestly, at the end of the day, the image is going to be the first thing someone sees. That is what is going to stop the thumb, that stop the scroll when someone is scrolling through social media. And you could have the best copywriting in the world, but if people don't like the image enough to buy the product or to even stop and look at it, it's not going to make any difference. It's really not. And one of the most common issues that I see is that either the imagery itself is very poor quality, or the design is too small or partially hidden. And, maybe this seems obvious to some people, but we see it a lot, like a lot, where designs are obstructed and you can't see it. And you got to remember, a lot of people, 80 to 90% of your traffic is viewing your images from a mobile device. And if your design is too small or obstructed, if there's hair over the design, if there's some other, if they're wearing a jacket and it covers up part of the design, most people are going to skip over it. They're not going to take the time to stop, to scroll in and try to make out what that design says. So not only, not only is the quality of the image important, but you also just want to make sure that it's the hero of the image. You want to make the design the hero of the image, and that's a way to improve your creatives. So that is what I would say about that. And the last thing I'll just to reiterate, please make sure that the design is easy to read from a mobile device, because you should assume that your ideal target audience has probably seen this somewhere on like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, and you just want them to be able to see the design. You want it to pop. You want it to be in their face. That's what's most important in the ad creative. Doesn't matter if you have the entire model's body. It doesn't matter. I would cut off part of the head. That sounds really bad. Or I would like crop it at the waist or something if it meant that the design was more apparent in the ad creative itself. So Carrie, your thoughts?
I just want to add one thing, really just going back to the first part of talking about your, the image being the most important part of the ad. I think I mentioned this before, but I want to challenge everybody who's listening. Go to Google Images and just type in, "You will read this first." You will read this first. Go to Google Images, type in, "You will read this first," and click on the very first thing that comes up. So basically, there's this little image, super simple image, and it's set up exactly like a Facebook ad. So that's why I really like it, because we all, many of us use Facebook ads. But it says, it has text, and it says, "You will read this first, and then you will read this, then this one, and you will read this last." What I always find interesting about this is it really just puts it in perspective how important the image or the video is in your ad, in your actual ad. Because by far, people are going to look at the image or video first. But then what's interesting is next they look at the headline underneath it and the call to action there, right? And then usually it's actually the last thing they do is read the ad copy. So, some people would interpret that to say the ad copy, the actual text in the ad might be one of the least important things, which is kind of wild to think about, and I think it's still important, but the headline, the image, and then the headline are going to be the most important things in your ad. And so improving those and getting better at writing ads and actually coming up with enticing images, videos, those kind of things, that's a skill, and that can greatly improve your sales because it will help you drive cheaper traffic and more traffic to your website. And so, that's so important. The cheaper we can drive traffic, the bigger our profit margins are going to be, right?
Right. Absolutely, absolutely. It's so funny. Like as you were saying that, I'm like, all right, Google, you will read this first. Go to Google Images. And I literally read it in the exact same
Yep.
order you said, knowing that you were saying that I would read it in that order. It's like
Yeah.
even being totally cognizant that you explained it so well. And then I go on there and I literally read it in the exact same order. It's like,
I should have not read it. I should have said, go to it and
yeah.
then like tell us what you think or something, like
Yeah,
email
no,
us and tell us.
it's so powerful. Like
Yep.
that is so so true. And I was actually listening to another podcast the other day, and they were talking about how very few people these days read captions. And I think it was, I don't even want to say a stat because I'll probably way off, but it was like a significant number of people say they never read captions or they rarely read captions. And I do think captions are important because if you can stop the scroll, if you can create a thumb stopping image and a headline, usually they will then go down and read the caption. It's kind of like a funnel, right? Like it's
Yep.
the image and the headline, then the caption, call to action, and you want them to read it all. And if you can stop them in the first place with the image, they'll probably get to that. And that's good. That's what you want. Ideally, you want all of those areas optimized. But absolutely, the image is the most important. It's what I see. Like, I've run terrible ads in the past, man, with like hardly any caption, a couple words, like nothing special, but people loved the design.
Mhm.
And that was what made them so effective. So,
You know what's funny about that is I watch a ton of YouTube. Like I watch sports on TV. Outside of sports, I don't watch TV, and then like I just watch YouTube. I think that's how a lot of people, kind of a lot of people do.
yeah, huge, yeah, YouTube.
But on YouTube, I found myself not reading the title of the video, just clicking on videos because of the thumbnail.
Yeah.
And sometimes like when the thumbnail's really good, I'll click on it. But then sometimes I'll get like 2 minutes into the video and I'll be like, wait, what is this video about? Like, cause I clicked on the thumbnail thinking it was about, the thumbnail, whatever's on the thumbnail hooked me in. But then I read the title and I'm like, wait, I don't even want to know about this. Like I'm just looking at the thumbnails, I don't even read the title. It's kind of wild.
Totally. And like
That's how it works.
Yeah, you look at thumbnails, how optimized they are nowadays. Like there are literally freelancers who all they do is create thumbnails for YouTube, and some of them are crushing it, man. I've heard stories of people that make six figures creating thumbnails for YouTube videos
Wild.
for other people, and there's like a kind of a science to it. So you're definitely right, and I really think the same goes for social media, like on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, that kind of thing. So
For sure. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, even like thinking about TikTok or Reels, it's like all you do is scroll. Like, does
Right.
anybody read the caption? I mean, maybe every once in a while, I read the comments more than the captions,
Right.
but you're literally just swiping through videos. But
Yeah, one thing I like to do, little pro tip here. I think a lot of people do this. It's not like, ooh, I created it or anything. But one thing a lot of people like to do is if they want to stimulate engagement, which every algorithm loves, what they'll do is they'll ask the question in the video. So if you're doing a reel, if you're doing a TikTok, even if you're on YouTube, instead of writing the question in the caption, which a lot of people are not going to read, at the end of the video, ask a question and ask the viewers to comment below, comment in the comments. That sounds kind of redundant, but you know what I mean? And man, that is so much more effective for getting engagement. And that is what you want. That's what's gonna contribute to the virality of your post.
yep, so good. All right, let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is improving your website. So, really, the main things we're talking about here is conversion optimization. And there's a few different areas that you can improve your website. And it's cool because a lot of these are pretty small tweaks you can make. And so, where do I want to go with this? If you think about it, if you're running ads, you're getting traffic from social media, whatever you're doing, any kind of traffic, you can run all this traffic to your website. But the reality is, if your website is not converting people into sales, it's useless. You're just going to waste all your money. And I always think of it like, any big purchase you ever made in your life, like a car or like, even a TV or something that probably a little bit bigger purchase. But if this company, if they're to drive all this traffic to say a electronics store or something like, and you come in there and you have a really bad experience with the salesperson, or they're too pushy, or, or the store's dirty, or the prices are too high, or whatever the case may be, like you go in and have a bad experience, you're probably going to leave and you're going to go somewhere else and not buy it. You know what I mean? Not buy the thing you came for. That's what always kind of resonates. I always just think of it as like a retail store. I always think of my online store as kind of like a retail store business. You do all these efforts to get people to come into your store, but if the store sucks, the customer experience sucks, you're not going to have good sales numbers. And I think you mentioned, you're not going to get repeat business. And so there's a few different things that you can think of. I want to ask you guys this question listening. When was the last time you actually tested your website's checkout process? When was the last time you opened up your website, went to a product, pressed add to cart, and went to the checkout and tested it out, put in your payment info, whatever the case may be? Like, when was the last time you tested that out and made sure it was running smoothly and quickly? When was the last time you pulled up your website on your phone, which by the way is like 80 to 90% of the traffic that you will get to your website is on a mobile phone? So important that your website is fast, it's running smoothly, the checkout process doesn't have any hiccups, like your shipping is working correctly and calculating correctly. That's one I see a lot, is the shipping is not calculated correctly. And then when it comes to like more conversion optimization type stuff, do you have high quality images? Do you have FAQs? Do you have trust badges? Different things like that, right? And one of the most important
proof, like reviews.
One of them, that's where I was going. Is one of the most important thing is your social proof, actually having reviews on your website. And I have a few stats here that I want to mention, if you don't mind, Adrian, that I just think are really powerful. What was that?
Fire away. I would love that. I think the listeners would love that too. Fire away.
I'm gonna fire you off a few social proof and review stats. These blew my mind. So hopefully they kind of blow your mind. So number one, 9 out of 10 shoppers read reviews before making a purchase. 90% of people read the reviews if they're there before making a purchase.
I totally do. I am one of those 90%. Absolutely 100% I'll read the reviews before I make an online purchase, especially because you can't like touch and feel and smell and taste and try it on, whatever. You know what I mean?
I think about like Amazon, pretty much everything I order off Amazon, mainly because there's so many different listings. I always read the reviews. I try to find the ones that have best reviews, which by the way, those Amazon sellers, man, they're sneaky. A lot of those reviews are not legit, but anyways, that's a whole other story.
Oh, dude, there are so many third-party services where you can go and you can just get like a ton of reviews.
My wife keeps getting gift cards. She keeps getting emails. Like she'll buy a product and they'll email and be like, we'll give you a $50 gift card to leave us a review. And it's like, maybe I shouldn't be saying this on a public podcast, but like the product will cost like $15 and they'll give her a $50 gift card. Like what? It doesn't even make any sense, but that's how important social proof is, that they're willing to pay like 3 or 4x the product cost just to get one review. Anyway,
well, think about it on Amazon. Like you look at like most of the sales, if someone is choosing between the exact same product and there's 5 listings and one has 1,000 reviews and the other have like 30,
only differentiator.
What do you think they're going to go with? Like you mentioned, I have a friend who literally gets paid to do reviews for products, and it's really sneaky. They send her the products and then they somehow they compensate her, and then she writes a 5-star review and it looks like it's totally legit, but she's actually getting like paid by the company. So this is going on. It is a big thing. Yeah. I
wasn't meaning to go there, but anyways, let's get back to the stats.
All right, let's go back.
These get a little bit crazy though. All right. When a product has only 5 reviews, the likeliness of it being purchased goes up 270%.
Man,
that's wild, dude.
That's it.
If you have 5 reviews, the likelihood of being purchased goes up 270%. All right,
dude,
next.
Can I just say something? You could get 5 reviews from family and friends.
Yeah.
That is not hard to get. And to think of the upside of doing that is just awesome.
So here's 2 stats on just the overall business reviews. If a business has more than 9 current reviews, they earn 52% more revenue than the average business. So you got 9 reviews on your business, you earn 52% more revenue than the average business. If a business has more than 25 reviews, they earn 108% more revenue than the average business.
I want that. I want
25.
108%.
25. Okay, two more. Purchase likelihood increases by 15% when buyers read verified reviews over anonymous reviews. So a verified review is basically just an actual verified purchase from a customer. If they leave a review, so that the purchase likelihood goes up 15%. So you have 15% better chance of getting the sale if you have verified reviews over anonymous reviews.
That kind of makes sense because it just adds so much more legitimacy when
it's like a trust badge.
Exactly. It's like a trust badge.
Yep. The last one I got, this one's kind of interesting. When a business replies to at least 25% of their reviews, they earn 30% more revenue on average than the average business. So just replying to your reviews and saying thank you, like amazing, And it also speaks to, if you ever get a bad review, it helps you a ton more to reply to that as a business and say, hey, we're so sorry, like take responsibility if you can, and put, hey, we'll make it right. We want to, like put it publicly what you're doing about the negative review. And that can actually turn into a positive in a lot of cases, because people love to see the customer service.
Some of our unhappy customers end up being like huge cheerleaders because they love the way that we handled. A lot of them, they just want to be heard. Like most people are not going out taking time out of their busy days to write negative reviews just for the sake of harming a business or writing the negative review. Usually they're just upset. And a lot of times all it takes is a little bit of acknowledgement and just a little bit. Sometimes they don't even want anything in return. They just want to be acknowledged. And if your brand can be the one to respond to them, it's not only going to potentially turn them into a really happy customer, but like you said, Carrie, other people are going to see that and they're going to respect your brand so much more. They're like, look, these people are like taking accountability. I actually think it helps your legitimacy. Kind of like, a lot of brands, you don't want all 5-star reviews because it looks fake. Even if it's all true, even if it's 100% 5-star reviews, people are just going to think it's too good to be true. They think it's going to be fake. And a lot of brands, they want to show like a 4.5 or a 4 out of 5 or something to make it look more real. But that doesn't mean you need to go give us 4-star reviews on podcasts right now. Okay, we're looking for 5 stars. We are looking to be like that one that has 100% 5-star reviews.
How many reviews do we need before it looks fake?
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. All right, next point.
Stats. Yeah, no, those are great stats. All right, number 5. This is a biggie. This is, I think, the one that people think about the most, and there's a good reason for that, even though I think the designs are personally a bit more important than this. This is still huge, very, very huge. And that is number 5 of the 5 ways to improve your print on demand sales is improve your marketing. And one kind of idea that I teach to my students is avoid being the jack of all trades and the master of none. And what I mean by that is most successful print-on-demand businesses that I see, they built their business off of the backs of one primary social media platform. And there's so many examples, quote, brands that are massive now, like e-commerce unicorns, like Pure Vita bracelets, Movement watches, Blenders eyewear. These brands were built off the back of Instagram. They went all in on Instagram. That is where their primary focus was. And they had a ton of success because of that. So when it comes to marketing, here's what I recommend. Choose one main channel to acquire customers and choose one main channel to retain customers, and commit to dominating those 2 channels. Become an expert in those 2 channels. You can have more. You can totally have an Instagram and a TikTok and a Facebook, no problem. But I strongly recommend hitching your wagon behind one of them, putting most of your effort into dominating one of them for both acquisition, acquiring customers, and retention, keeping customers. That's all you need to create a 6 or even a 7-figure brand. You just need to have you just need to be really good at one channel for getting new customers and then one channel for retaining those customers. And what I mean by that is getting them to come back again and again. So kind of to expand on this, I call it a primary acquisition channel. So a primary acquisition channel is a platform that you will use primarily for the purpose of acquiring new customers. Whereas a primary retention channel is a platform that you will use primarily for the purpose of retaining customers and encouraging them to purchase on repeat. Because we all know that the profits are in the repeat sales. That is where the real money is made. So when it comes to acquisition channels, there are actually so many that you can leverage, but I generally recommend starting with social media since it's free. There are a number of ways to get in front of a lot of people. You can connect with niche specific communities and you can chat directly with your ideal target audience. You can DM them, you can comment on their feed, you can comment on their stories. There's so many ways. And you actually sometimes even hear stories of people doing this with like celebrities. They'll reach out to a celebrity, they'll DM them on social media, and surprisingly, some of them will actually get responses. But you can do the same for your brand. So right now, the big 3 that I see most people using are Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Would you agree, Carrie, that those are kind of the big 3 right now? Like those are most successful e-commerce brands today that are crushing it on social media. Their primary acquisition channel is almost always either Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. I rarely see any others. I'm sure they exist. Some that use Pinterest or Snapchat,
Twitter,
or Twitter, or a blog, but honestly, like more than 9 times out of 10, the successful brands that I'm seeing, the ones like the people that we coach, it's Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yep.
So
yeah, absolutely.
So, and then for the retention channel, the primarily retention channels, like I said, the purpose of them is to retain existing customers. So you bring your customers in with social media, you introduce them to your brand, you get them to follow you, then you convert them into a customer, you collect their email when they visit your website, and then you use your retention channel to remarket to them. And the most popular ones by far, the most popular 2 retention channels that I see are email and SMS. And I think they're both great. I use both of them. I recommend that everyone start with email and then introduce SMS as a next step as you continue to grow. Because I want it to be simple for people. We want to create a very simple process that will get people results quick, and then they can kind of expand as they grow. But you don't want to spread yourself too thin at the beginning. That's why we say 1 primary acquisition channel, 1 retention channel. That's all you need. Carry your thoughts.
That was a mouthful, man. You crushed it again.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I need some water.
No, instead of really like adding to what you said, I just want to talk about consistency for a minute, because I don't know, that was the thing that clicked for me at some point in this journey about everything. Is like, you know what I think it really was doing YouTube. I think that was the biggest thing, which is kind of weird because, I mean, obviously, like when I started my first apparel businesses and had some success and everything. But I think one of the reasons that I had struggles, one of the struggles I had in my apparel business was consistently getting sales, like consistently having revenue each month. When I went through some, I had this whole nother story, but I went through some rough times with the apparel business and everything before I really got some consistent momentum. And I think what I didn't know yet was like, you have to do your marketing consistently over longer periods of time. Like I was doing email marketing when it was convenient. I was posting on social media when I felt like it, and it's like the consistency is so important. And when I started putting out videos on YouTube, and I know this is not necessarily related to t-shirts, but it's just to kind of show this. When I started putting out content on YouTube, I committed that I was going to put out a video each week, every single week, no matter how many people were watching. And it's taken me 3 years just to get to 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is not a crazy huge number, but you can see the consistent growth with just consistent videos each and every week. And when it comes to social media, So what I do now is anything new that I'm going to try, I try to set in place a 30 to 60 day timeline to be consistent over 30 or 60 days, and don't even look at any of the data or try to analyze it until that period is up. So if you're out there right now and you said the first step, you say, I'm gonna get my marketing strategy down, one platform, etc. The first step, where are your customers, potential customers, already hanging out? Right. And as you mentioned, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are going to be the three big ones. It could also be Pinterest. It could be Twitter. It could be Discord, or it could be Reddit, or, these aren't necessarily all social media platforms, but you need to make a list of where your ideal customers are hanging out. Mm-hmm. Choose one platform. Okay. And then say, for the next 60 days, hell or high water, no matter what happens, I'm putting out at least one unique piece of content each day. If you can do two, do two. Okay. It's all about volume in the beginning and testing all these different things and trying to see what works. And you tell yourself, I'm not even going to care about views, comments, likes. I don't even care for 60 days. I'm just going to put out 60 pieces of content, one piece per day for 60 days. And sure, you're going to make adjustments as you go. Sure. You're going to see if something's starting to work, but you talk about this so often, so often we give up before the miracle, right? Like we give up when we're 3 feet from gold. And we're going, and maybe we commit to do it for 1 week, and we do it for a week and we didn't get any results. And it's just like, what if you would have gone 30 days, or what if you would have gone 60 days? And I think on social media, I think 30 to 60 days of consistency is a good sample size for you to see, what works, what doesn't work. It's just trying different things on that one platform. So I just want to preach about consistency. I think in not even just business, so many areas of life, consistency. If you want to get in shape and you're out of shape, you can't just go to the gym once tomorrow and then be ripped next week. Right. You have to go to the gym for the next 6 months, every single day. And you have to go hard every day for 6 months. Do you think you're going to see results after 6 months? Heck yeah. It's all about the consistency, right? But you might not see results in 2 weeks, if you give up after 2 weeks, right? Same thing with diet, same thing with investing, right? Any great investment advice or investor will tell you, their advice will be, most of them, I should say, hey, just it's actually the boring way is the best way, right? Just dollar cost average every day, consistency. That way you're going to hit the lows of the market and the highs of the market. And over time, it's going to average out. You're going to make tons of money and over a long period of time. So it rings true in so many areas of life. But I think social media, pick one channel, one strategy, and commit to do it consistently over a longer period of time. Make adjustments as you go, but do it every single day. I promise you'll see results. And if you don't see direct sales, you'll see things that you can pick up on that you can then do more of and analyze the data and then make better decisions and make better content. And you'll continue to get closer and closer to your goal. You just got to commit to be consistent.
Yeah, man, that was so well said. Consistency is so key. And there is a quote that I absolutely love. I think it's from Atomic Habits by James Clear, which is one of my favorite books of all time, by the way. Highly recommend if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for a book, like a good entrepreneurial read, Atomic Habits. But I think it was from that book where he says, detach from the result and focus on the process. And I absolutely love that, because I think people get so, right? Like that hit home for me. I was like, man, that is so true. So many people get hung up. They'll post for 5 days and they'll be like, oh, I'm not getting results.
It doesn't work.
It's like, it was crickets for me too after 5 days. It took me 8 months of posting consistently, and some people are going to see results a lot faster than that, but some people it's going to take time. If you commit to consistency, you're going to see results. It's just a matter of time. So I couldn't agree, man. That was just so well said. And I'm glad you brought that point up, because I think a lot of people, well, sadly, I feel like print on demand gets kind of a bad rep as a get rich quick scheme, which it absolutely is not. This
not
is
how we teach it, especially not how we've done it. And how I think how we teach it is me and you are much more passionate about helping people build long-term sustainable brands and businesses, not just like, I'm going to throw up 100 designs on Amazon and try to make a few dollars. That's not sustainable, you know.
Totally.
Not hating on you if you do that. We love you, but
Yeah, no, but like you with YouTube, that's exactly what I did for my coaching business on TikTok. I actually did my own 30-day TikTok challenge. I said, I'm going to post a TikTok every day for 30 days, and I'm just going to see how it goes. And I just told myself that quote: detach from the result, focus on the process. Whether it's I get one view, I'm going to keep going for 30 days. I'm going to give it at least 30 days. But I knew I was going to keep going. I just wanted to like kick it into high gear. I just want to start off really strong. And I continued to be very consistent after that. But I told myself it's always good when you set the goal, because then you feel more accountable to it, right? So I set that goal, and I remember like at the beginning it was discouraging. I kept posting TikToks and it was just like crickets, crickets, crickets. But then like all of a sudden, because I was posting such a high volume, I started seeing that some were performing better. And I was like, oh, success leaves clues. I'm going to reverse engineer why this probably did better than the other ones. And I'm going to try to create more content like that. And I optimize. And within a year, I grew from 0 to 15,000 followers. And maybe that's not much for a lot of people, but this was during a time that people told me it was very hard to grow on TikTok, that it wasn't as easy as it used to be in the old days. And everyone said like those days of going from 0 to 100,000 overnight are over. And I was within 1 year, even with taking some time off from posting, I was able to get to 15,000, which I was happy. That was life-changing growth for me. That is how I got, sponsorship deals. That's how I got students. That's how I met you, Carrie. Like you knew who I was because of my TikTok, but it all started with a 30-day challenge, and I continued to remain consistent, and I'm still consistent to this day because that is my primary acquisition channel. So kind of bringing that full circle, I decided, wow, like I'm seeing some success here. I'm going to dominate this channel. Like I'm going to commit to dominating this channel. And it's been amazing. And the exact same thing can happen for you for your business. But you need to know, like, don't expect overnight results. Most people don't get those. Even the most successful brands, a lot of them didn't get overnight results. Just like any legitimate business, the growth comes with time and consistency. So
yeah, so good, dude. Yeah, I think I was gonna say something else, but I can't remember. Oh, I was gonna say to add on to what you said a little bit earlier. Just think, I just want you to think, if it's literally as simple as if you put out 30 pieces of content, one every day for 30 days, think about the sample size you have that you can literally just go look at the data. What got the most views over these 30 posts? Then from there, you just go, all right, these 3 posts were my best performing posts. So now I'm going to do another 30 days, but I'm going to post more posts like these for the next 30 days, right? And those, in theory, will do better. And then you look at the next 30 days and you go, okay, these were the best ones. Let's tweak and let's tweak and let's tweak. That's how this game works. That's literally the same thing when you're running ads. You run a bunch of ads and you go, all right, these did the best. Let me run more ads like that. You look at your designs, you go, all right, these designs did the best. Let me make more designs like that. That's how this game works. And like we said, if you give up after 5 days, there's not enough data there to know anything. I
don't know anyone who's had success after 5 days. I don't even know anyone who's had success for 30 days. Like this, like overnight success is a myth for the most part. In my opinion, most people that come across as overnight successes, even if it wasn't in that industry, usually they've got years of experience in something else. I remember there was this really successful kid in e-commerce a couple of years ago, and it was like, there were headlines like, oh, the 17-year-old makes 6 figures with his e-commerce business. And I learned more about him because he was a really interesting dude. And I found out that he had been like selling on eBay since he was like 12. He was like 7 years deep in the game or 5 years deep in the game before he actually really took off with his e-commerce brand. Yeah. And so many times that is the story that you hear. If you actually talk to the person, most of the time they will say they were not an overnight success. They're like, no, I've been working at this. Even if it was like doing different businesses, I've been trying to be an entrepreneur for like 5 to 10 years. And I was flipping
iPhones at like 18 or 19, like buying them on Craigslist and flipping them on eBay, doing it with iPhones. That's one of my first endeavors.
Yeah, I had so many failures before I got into apparel, man. It's like multiple failures. So yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
great episode, dude. I think that about wraps it up. Any final thoughts?
No, I think that is a lot. I don't want to overwhelm people too much, but I hope people really enjoyed this. Let us know what you guys think. And this was a lot of fun.
See you guys in the next one.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Print on Demand Playbook podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us an honest review on whatever platform you're listening on, whether that be Apple or Spotify or Google, or if you're watching on YouTube, just leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you think about this podcast. We'd love to hear from you. We'll see you next week.